The nation is in mourning. The people's president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, passed away on Monday evening. The former president's body was brought to the national capital today. His mortal remains have now been shifted to his residence in Delhi at 10 Rajaji Marg. Here, people from all sections of society can pay tribute to the former president. Earlier Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Defence Minister Manohar Parkar and the three service chiefs were present at the airport to receive Dr. Kalam's mortal remains. The Prime Minister broke protocol to receive the body at the airport. A state funeral has been planned for the nation's most popular president at Rameshwaram, that is, Dr. Kalam's hometown. Maha Siddiqui now joins me live from outside 10 Rajaji Marg. Maha, people thronging Dr. Kalam's residence to pay their final tribute?
Yes, absolutely, Vedika. The gates will be open for the general public from 4 p.m. onwards, and we do know that people in large numbers have already gathered just ahead of this road, which has been cordoned off for the moment. And we also know that close by and all roundabouts, there are at least a bunch of 50 to 100 people, women, students, young men, standing with flowers in their hands, just wanting that this gate is thrown open for them, which is at 4 p.m. Now, I can also tell you at this present time, Congress President Sonia Gandhi and Vice President Rahul Gandhi just went inside to pay their tributes to the beloved late president. A string of dignitaries really are expected to come here at 10 Rajaji Marg. What was most endearing about President Kalam was the fact that he could interact with people from all walks of life, be it children who were, of course, and undoubtedly his favorites because he interacted with them in large numbers, even when he was president and after he ceased to be president, as well as people from different political parties as well. He has this sort of, he had this weight not just as the president, but also as a human being, because he was so humble and he was able to interact with everybody at the same level. He, of course, came from a humble background, rose to being the president of the country, in between achieving several milestones, being known as the Missile Man of India, was the brains behind India's nuclear program, was the chief scientific advisor to Vajpayee when the Pokhran nuclear tests were conducted. So clearly, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is a man who had achieved a lot, and his life itself was an inspiration for everyone. And, even till his last moments, he was doing what he enjoyed best, imparting knowledge, talking to students at IIM Shillong.
Maha, do stay with me. We're also joined by Professor Balakrishnan. He's a very close friend of Dr. Kalam. Professor, thank you so much for joining us. We know this is a very tough day for you ever since you heard the news last evening. But while the nation mourns the loss of Dr. Kalam, for you it is a huge personal loss as well.
I think, for me, Dr. Kalam was my mother, my father, and a mentor all rolled into one. And my relationship with him was far beyond technology alone. And he was there for me on every occasion when I needed the most. And so it's a huge personal loss. And, probably it will take several years before I could even realize that the loss has taken place, because I always feel that he's still somewhere, and I also feel sometimes between last night and now, sometimes I feel I should call him and tell him that Dr. Kalam is dead. And I mean, such is the kind of feeling one gets, and it's very difficult for me to digest this.
When was the last time you spoke to Dr. Kalam, Professor?
That was a Sunday night, because actually I spoke to him first on Saturday night, and if you had seen in the video, the day before that he spoke to my students at 1 a.m. and then he recalls all of their research work and gives them by name. So he's got such a phenomenal amount of memory. By listening to someone once, he would be able to recall everything. And then on the same day, the 25th night, before he went to Shillong, actually he went on the 26th to Shillong. So he called me and asked me, how did people like the talk and how did the other things go? But on on Sunday night, again, he spoke for about, 30 to 40 minutes at 12 o'clock in the night, again about the kind of work that we were doing together, and also about the function itself, because that was more emotional, because it was my retirement felicitation function. So he wanted to know what others said and so on. So it was on Sunday at 12 o'clock in the night was the talk I had with him, Sunday night. So for one to see that by Monday, less than 24 hours after that he's no more, is something is not really digestible.
Yes, and we believe that it was something you couldn't believe, and that's why you even tried calling his number after you heard the news.
Yes. Yeah, because see, first of all, there are 2 or 3 things that I must tell you.
Yes, please.
Few of the conversations that we had before was the fact that there used to be lots of rumors, SMS rumors going around quite some time back, that he had fallen sick, or he's been admitted in the hospital unconscious and so on and so forth. And so he used to ask me about how do we find the people who actually originated this rumor. So I first thought it was also another rumor. Then when I saw the new TV and then realized that it is actually is no more, after about an hour or 2, then I thought I must check with his number and then call him. Later on I called him again to tell him that, Dr. Kalam is no more, because we exchange almost all daily events as part of our conversation.
Yes, Professor, also we know Dr. Kalam as a people's person, but who better than you to tell us how it was so difficult to keep children away from Dr. Kalam and Dr. Kalam away from children?
Pardon, I didn't get the last bit.
My question to you, sir, was it's always been difficult for Dr. Kalam to stay away from children. He's been extremely fond of them, and for children also to stay away from the former president.
Yeah, but I think when he interacts with my students, I think there is not even a semblance of reminding the fact that he was the past president, or he was the person who had headed DRDO and so on. I think he talks to them like one of them, and he tries to understand the complex PhD work that these people have been doing, and then give them some suggestions. The versatility is so admirable. And at the same time, one thing that he put in all the students is that you should actually spend your time trying to solve nation's problem, and nationally relevant technological solutions you must bring in. I think that's what makes them, that is also the dream of every young person. I think that's a resonance that they hit between them. In that plane, I think they are equal. I don't think he is a president. They don't even think that he was a president. In fact, they even argue with him about science.
Yes, Professor, do stay with me. We also have... Yes, go ahead.
It is, they just treat him like they treat me or treat anybody else, their peers and the teachers and so on. So when he comes to the Indian Institute of Science, I think he's part of us. See, another thing is, he knows almost everyone in the Indian Institute of Science. He knows lots of professors with whom he has worked. And he has worked on, many projects of the nation, and then almost every professor in the Indian Institute of Science works on such national projects. Not only that, he will know them by their name, by their pet name, by their first name, and so on and so forth. I think, he connects with these people instantly.
Right, Professor, do stay with me. On our screens there, we're also seeing a lot of the politicians paying their last respect to the president, the former president, Dr. Kalam. You just had Sonia Gandhi pay her last tribute, as well as Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi paying a floral tribute to Dr. Kalam's body there at his official residence. But let's just listen to some of the politicians and how they remember the former president.
Yeah, it has deeply saddened all of us that Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is no more with us. But one positive thing is that his teachings, his messages and his works will take India a long way. India's quest to become a great power will always be strengthened by the visions and the teachings of late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Sahab.
President Kalam was the people's president. He was a president who had the ability to connect with India's young. We will miss him. We will miss his thinking. We will miss his vision. It's quite apt that he worked till the last second of his life. It was the way he lived his entire life, and we are proud of him.
Before he became president and before he took India to a new level as far as scientific endeavors were concerned, Dr. Kalam was a high school student in Ramanathapuram. After his death on Monday evening, the school and hometown have been in mourning. Shisha Reddy gets you the report from the school that shaped Kalam's thinking.
He got this seed in his heart from this school. He used to love everybody. He got that seed from this school. See, he is not for this district, not for this state, not for this country. He is for our world. I can say he loved the nation as his own country.
Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam வந்து சில்லாம் போயிருக்கப்ப திடீர் ஹார்ட் அட்டாக்ல இறந்து போயிட்டதா 7 மணிக்கு எங்க குடும்பத்துக்கு தகவல் வந்துச்சு. ஸோ அந்த குடும்பத்தில் எல்லாரும் மிகுந்த வருத்தத்தோடு இந்த ஊர் மக்களும் மிகுந்த வருத்தத்தோடு இருக்காங்க. அவங்கள வந்து ராமேஸ்வரத்துக்கு கொண்டு வந்து இங்கே ராமேஸ்வரத்தில் அவங்க பிறந்த ஊர்லேயே அடக்கம் பண்ணணும் அப்படிங்கிறது அவங்களோட விருப்பம், இந்த ஊர் மக்களுடைய விருப்பம்.
As the country mourns the death of India's missile man, the people in this school have more to share. We are at the small town in Ramanathapuram in Tamil Nadu at HS Quartz High School, where APJ Abdul Kalam did his schooling from. A pall of gloom descended at this school and is seen as a black day in the history of school, which is 70 kilometers away from Rameshwaram, that is Abdul Kalam's native place. His simplicity has left an indelible mark in the minds of these children, as once he interacted with them, and the people in this town see this as a loss in their own family, and they've lost the son of the soil. And whenever Abdul Kalam spoke to these students, once when he had visited, these were the 2 lines that Abdul Kalam told them. And of course, it was an inspiration for him when he was in the school. Let not thy winged days be spent in vain. When gone, no gold can buy them back again. These 2 lines were been repeatedly told by Abdul Kalam when he was having an interaction with the students of the school. And of course, they see him as a great honor, that they take pride in saying that they studied in the same school as APJ Abdul Kalam did. And he will continue to be an inspiration for the students and future generation too. With camera person Daniel, Srisha Reddy in Ramanathapuram for India Today.
Also joining us on this broadcast is Mr. T.R. Ramachandran, senior journalist from Delhi. Mr. Ramachandran, thank you so much for taking time out and speaking to us and trying to remember Dr. Kalam. Well, it is a rich legacy he leaves behind, doesn't he?
Well, he does leave a very rich legacy, no doubt about it. But I think the most significant point is that here is one man who was apolitical and reached the highest position that anybody can hold in the country, being the first citizen and the president. I think he's had a phenomenal scientific career, and the way he has really built upon it. But what he's really brought as president of this great country is his love for children and turning Rashtrapati Bhavan into a people's Bhavan. I don't think a week went by when children did not flock to the school children did not flock to Rashtrapati Bhavan and spent a good hour with him, hour and a half with him, where he interacted with them. I mean, he persistently and consistently said they are the country's future, and he said he learned a lot from them as well, apart from answering their questions. But he brought a breath of fresh air, of being apolitical in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. I think that is one of the most significant and important things, and there was never a day that he idled away. In other words, he always had something to do, and it was, as I said before, quite unique that you had an apolitical person occupying the highest office in the land.
Absolutely. Very well said there. Mr. Ramachandran, but we just want to tell our viewers that we're here to pay tribute to India's favorite president, the man who reached out to children, to people from across the social strata, and that is why at 3 o'clock this afternoon we're asking you to call and pay your rich tribute to the former President of India, Dr. Kalam. What was Dr. Kalam's biggest lesson for India is what we ask you. You can call on the numbers flashing there on your screens.